Hello everybody, very good evening and welcome to StudyIQ IAS English. I'm Abhishek Singh and once again I'm in front of you to discuss about the important features of art and culture in India, and today we will be talking about the arts in general, even though the topic suggests the folk arts, but I'm just thinking to have a general discussion along with the detailed and descriptions about the art forms in India. So let's get started without any further delay because the session is already delayed a little bit. And before proceeding, let me just tell you that as we have already discussed about both the visual art and the performing arts, all right. So in this particular lecture, we will be once again moving to the visual arts. For example, the paintings. They are a great form of the visual arts which are used to express the social, cultural, religious and sometimes even the psychological aspects of the human nature, behavior, conduct, society and the common practices which are taking place in the society. In short, if we try to define the paintings, they are basically the expressions of the humankind on the surfaces with the help of colors. Alright, so this is why we are going to study the paintings in quite detail. So this lecture will be the ultimate source of your entire information that is necessary for the purpose of examination. So let us proceed without any further delay, but before proceeding, let me tell you about our upcoming evening batches, which are the P2I or the Prelims to Interview batches for 2024 Civil Services Examination. Make it sure that if you are planning to appear in this year's examination and planning to crack this, then this is the ultimate thing which is going to help you, going to guide you, because it will be providing you the comprehensive syllabus coverage along with the preparation of current affairs as well as the one-to-one mentorship. And the special thing is, if you are able to clear the prelims stage, you will be called to the Delhi NCR campus of StudyIQ, where each and everything related to your preparation, your stay, food, accommodation, everything will be taken care of by StudyIQ without any extra cost. So what are you waiting for? You can just get yourself enrolled in any of these batches. What you have to do, you have to just use the code ASR live, and here if you are using the code, you will be getting a lot of discount on the fees of this program, which will be the least possible fees of 29,999 rupees. Now moving to the topic, Indian paintings. All right, Indian paintings. So when we talk about the Indian paintings, why exactly are we studying about it? Because as we all are aware that India is a multicultural, India is a dynamic culture, multicultural, multifaceted civilization, which has been in the nature of evolution through, I would say, thousands of years. So therefore, when we study the paintings since the prehistoric period, it becomes really crucial source of information that how did the people of our country think in that era? How did they live in that era? What was the way of their life, their conduct and their evolution? For example, suppose if you get a painting from any random place in the hilly areas of Vindhyas or Kaimur or Satpura, and you see the scenes of hunting or the scenes of a group dance, what do you conclude from that? You can conclude that might be possible that these people were aware of living in the community. So when the people are dancing together, which means that they are living together, they are living in a community, and when they live in a community, which means there is a social fabric that also existed. I hope you are able to catch the point. So just by looking at a single picture, we are able to derive so many meanings, and this is why, my dear, understanding the paintings and the tradition of the paintings is really important. In fact, in one of the years, UPSC had asked a question in the mains examination most probably it was in 2017 or 18, that the Mesolithic rock art, how did it signify the life and culture of contemporary period, of that period, as compared to the modern era, current era. So you can also expect the questions on these lines, where the paintings can be the source of your understanding about the life and the evolutionary practices in a specific period of time, and also the source of comparison of that period with the period at present. Okay, everyone? So that is why these are very, very important. So when we talk about the different types of paintings, different type of art forms in our culture, mainly we have three different types of the art forms. In fact, if you see, usually when we talk about the art forms, we have the different types of art forms. Some of them are religious, okay, religious. Some of them are secular. So when we categorize the art forms on the basis of their nature, nature, or you can also say theme. So on the basis of theme, they are religious or the secular. Similarly, when we say that on the basis of, okay everyone, the technical aspect, then we can have the art forms like, some of them are called as miniature, the others are called as portrait, okay. Then some others are also called as the abstract. Similarly, when we talk about the art categories on the basis of the surface which is being used here, so on the basis of surface, all right, on the basis of surface, there are different categories like suppose we have mural art, okay, we have the tempera, we also have canvas, etc., etc. There are various other categories. And guys, if you are able to recall any of these art forms, then tell me in the comment box, and also do not forget to share this video, share this class link with your friends as well, because in the previous 5 to 6 years, mains examination has been that part of UPSC civil services exams where they have asked the questions interlinking these art forms and their evolutions. Not only that, they have also asked the questions in the preliminary stage. For example, there was a question related to one of the famous folk arts, particularly famous as Kishangarh style. So I hope that you are able to remember that particular part. Okay, everyone. Now moving further, when we talk about these art forms, so usually the source of the ancient art forms are quite varied, quite different. For example, if we say the source of the prehistoric art, okay, prehistoric art, then we have the various rocks and caves throughout the country. For example, they are present in the Mirzapur, they are present in the Rohtas and Kaimur region, okay, Rohtas and Kaimur region. They are present in Uttarakhand, right, Uttarakhand. They are present in the Pikli Hal. Guys, when I am talking about Uttarakhand, particularly remember Dehradun. Okay, Dehradun. Then the most important, probably the most famous one, that is at Bhimbetka. Okay, Bhimbetka. Apart from that, there is also another famous place, right? Also another famous place. You might have heard about Mara caves. Anybody who has heard about the Mara caves? Mara caves or Jogi Mara caves, in fact, there are two different names. Remember that both of them are the sites of the rock paintings or the ancient or prehistoric cave paintings. So Jogi Mara in Chhattisgarh, that is more famous one. Okay. Now when we talk about these locations, these are the sources of the paintings or the prehistoric rock paintings. Whereas when we talk about the technical informations about the paintings, then we have the other sources, primarily the literary sources like Mudra Rakshas is there, written by Vishak Dutt, or other Brahmanical literature is there, particularly certain Puranas, they have got the beautiful pictures depicted. However, most of the Puranas in their translated versions, they have got beautiful pictures rather than in the original versions. But the Buddhist literature, particularly the Jataka tales, have got the attached pictures which are painted alongside the stories narrated on the pages, primarily during the Pala period, Pala age, or secondly, if we talk about the depictions which were the work of Tibetan or other Vajrayana traditions in the Sikkim, Nepal and Tibetan region. So these traditions, even in the Buddhism, they also represented their stories simultaneously alongside the pictures. Then we have the Vinay Pitak as a very famous source containing the pictures related to the Buddhist history. And guys, remember, the Vinay Pitak was the compilation of the rules, regulations, behavioral manual for the followers of Buddhism, particularly the monks and the nuns. Alright everyone. So when we talk about the prehistoric paintings, can anybody tell me what should be the most common theme of the prehistoric paintings? The most common theme of the prehistoric paintings included the hunting scenes. Of course, anybody among you might be a painter, might be a sketch artist or any other artist. Where do you take the inspiration from? You take the inspiration from your surroundings, from your life. Some of you might be having your own thoughts, but remember that your thoughts are basically the byproduct of your vicinity, your surroundings. Therefore, the early human beings they also curated such beautiful arts which were related to their vicinity, their surroundings and their day-to-day life. Guys, remember that the most common theme in the prehistoric paintings, that would be the mundane events of their day-to-day life. It is because their intellectual capabilities were not that much developed through which they could perceive any historical literary idea or something like that. They were quite happy and quite content just by making the sketches or very awkward looking representations of their colleagues, or sometimes the animals they hunted, or sometimes the surroundings or the trees that they were looking at. All these things were the common subjects of the prehistoric paintings. Such prehistoric paintings, remember that they are categorized into three phases: Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Chalcolithic. Why? Because in Paleolithic, remember that in the Upper Paleolithic age, the early human beings, they had started accumulating sufficient food, and therefore when the food gathering had become easier due to the increasing temperature, due to the warming of the earth, due to the melting of the ice. Remember, the snow caps were melting due to the end of Pleistocene era, that is the ice age. Therefore, it had become easier for the human beings to survive, to hunt the smaller animals, and to get their food available. So when they were full, satisfied, then they started sketching, painting, and using the brush. Of course, not brush, but that's just a metaphorical language. Now here, this is the depiction of the early paintings from Bhimbetka. All right. There would be the entire sequence of the Stone Age paintings in the Bhimbetka, starting from as early as the Upper Paleolithic, but most common period of the rock paintings in Bhimbetka, that included the paintings from the Mesolithic period. And why so? Because in the Mesolithic period, the group living of the people had started. Also, it had become easier to hunt the smaller animals by getting together. In fact, after the Mesolithic period, in the Neolithic age, you will also observe that certain birds, etc., are also caricatured on the surface of these walls, indicating that probably the availability of the food grains was also there. Remember, there was a question in the mains examination, probably around 2011 or 12, where they had asked the significance of the images of the birds perching on the ground belonging to the Mesolithic era paintings. So that simply indicated that when the birds are perching on the ground, either they might be eating the insects or they might be eating the grains. So it indicates the possibility of the beginning of agriculture in the late Mesolithic or in the early Neolithic era. Therefore, the scattered grains were actually perched upon by the birds, which was a sight to behold, and therefore the early human beings, they might have depicted into a picture. All right. Now simply, when we talk about that, what was the exact chemical they were using? Which type of substances were they using to make these paintings? So they were basically using ochre or geru. Ochre or geru, exactly the iron oxides. They are mixed with the soil, right? And that gives a very specific colors to the soil. Looks like you can say hydrated rust. Looks like a hydrated rust and very close to the saffron color complex. So that is why this was the most common color. In fact, the painting color which you are watching here in the picture in the PPT, even that is also having the geru as the base content, as the base material used for making this painting. The major themes or the major subjects of the painting that included the group hunting, grazing, riding, or even sometimes the group dancing, etc. That was also there. So these type of paintings have been obtained from many places in the Vindhya ranges, Satpura ranges, and Kaimur ranges. Remember that the world's first ever Stone Age painting that was discovered in the Mirzapur district of Uttar Pradesh. Right. Now tell me in the comment box that who was the person or what was the year in which it was discovered. It's a very common fact. Also, it is there in the class 11th NCERT of Art and Culture. Got it, everybody? Now moving further, when we talk about the second type of painting, that is the wall paintings, my dear. Wall paintings are also called as the mural paintings. They are of different types, basically categorized into the mural paintings, the tempera art, tempera, and the fresco. So these are all the paintings done on the different surfaces. All right. When we simply do the painting on a natural surface, just by making a thin layer of the soil or maybe of the lime, then we have this mural where the colors are actually used directly on the surface of the wall. When we say fresco, fresco is a very unique style of art where we actually apply a thick paste of the developer on which we make the paintings and the painting colors or the pigments, they get dried, they get dried up along with the drying of the developer. For example, when you are making the paintings on the plaster of Paris, which is slightly wet, and after the drying of plaster of Paris, you will be having that beautifully reflecting color combination of your painting on the surface made up of POP. That is basically a fresco. What is tempera? Tempera art is usually when you start mixing the gelatinous substances, usually obtained by making the mixture of oil or any type of fat in the natural pigments, usually based in the watercolor. There we have the tempera art. In India, we have the less presence of the tempera art, but more presence of the mural, that is on the natural surface, and the fresco, that is on the thick developer surface. When we talk about the European arts, my dear, on the side of European, we have more examples of the tempera, particularly coming from the late ancient period or from the early medieval period in Europe. So these are the different variations which you should be aware of, because UPSC, nobody knows that if they can ask a question coming directly in the upcoming prelims examination. So that's quite a possibility. Now here, if we talk about the important themes or the major themes which are used here, so major themes include the religious paintings. Most important themes, religious paintings. Okay, religious. Guys, when we talk about the religious paintings, remember that since the beginning of the Mahajanapad period, the religion had become the center of life of the India, and in fact, not just in India, but throughout the world, right? Those who are live, good evening to them. Now, making sure here that when we have, where do we have such examples in India? The most famous, probably everybody must be aware, most famous ones are at Ajanta, Ellora, Vagh, Raman Chhaya, Sittanavasal cave in Tamil Nadu. Okay. Similarly, we also have several mural paintings present throughout the different rock cut caves in the Western Ghats region, as well as on the inner walls of the temple, like for example the Meenakshi temple Madurai or Lepakshi temple in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, these temple walls also have got the beautiful paintings on the wall of the temples. So we will be now looking on one after other about the different examples. Look at here, Ajanta, Maharashtra. Okay, it is in Aurangabad, we all are aware. So they are basically constructed from the 4th to the 8th century, mainly related to the Buddhism, in fact, only related to the Buddhism. And mineral paints and vegetable dyes, mineral pigments and vegetable dyes, both are used to make these paintings. Tempera style, see, that is why Ajanta paintings are so shiny and so long lasting, that they are basically having the use of tempera. Okay, use of pigments along with the fat or greasy base that gives the shine into the paintings. Fresco paintings are also there, which means the probably the surface or the mud surface might be used to make those paintings, right? Any type of surface would be used. When we have the Ellora caves, that is also in the Aurangabad region. And remember that Ellora caves are actually related to Jainism, Buddhism and Brahmanism, all three major religions. And some of the paintings in the Ellora, they are, initially they are influenced by the Rashtrakuta style, but later on they are influenced by the northern western or the Gujarati style of paintings, which indicates that probably some of the paintings were created quite later. All right, everyone. Now, when we talk about the paintings, look at this one. This is actually the very famous painting of Avalokiteshwar Padmapani. From Ajanta caves. Then here we will be having the paintings from Ellora caves, where it is showing the group, basically the disciples following Buddha. All right, and behind me you will be able to watch the princess, right? The princess who is willing to be treated. Got it? Now, when we talk about other features, here just let me tell you one thing, that in other features you can just see, just remember, just a second everyone, I think there is a little bit of issue. All right, okay. Anyways, so here, okay, now when we say that this particular painting, so another places where we had this, it was a Bagh, Sitanvasal and the Lepakshi. I had already told you the names, but it was very important to learn that where are these paintings basically located. All right, so this is why you will be able to see, right? You will be able to see, just a second everyone. Now, so you might be able to see, I'm sorry for this technical glitches which are coming up in the class, but now when we talk about the Bagh caves, right? When we talk about the Bagh caves, basically they are located in Madhya Pradesh, and remember that these Bagh caves are actually not related to any specific religion. However, primarily it is believed that Bagh caves are connected with, right? They are connected with the Buddhist merchants who might be going through that area or who might have constructed. However, there are also claims that some of the Satavahana governors might have constructed those caves and might have helped the painters of that area. Apart from that, Sitanvasal cave, that is basically related to the Jainism. It is situated in Tamil Nadu, and it is a little bit later. It is little bit later in the time period. However, the quality of paintings in the Sitanvasal caves is not as high as the paintings in Ajanta or in Vagh, etc. Apart from that, we have the Lepakshi. Okay, we have the Lepakshi. As I told you, Lepakshi temple is basically constructed during the period of Vijayanagar Empire, and from that particular temple also we have the evidences of the evidences of the mural paintings. Okay everyone, so you can now watch these mural paintings, and in these particular, for example, this is the image of a Sitanvasal cave paintings. Okay, Sitanvasal cave painting, where it is very difficult to visualize, but somehow you can visualize that this might be a person, right? Might be a person who might be using, right? Who might be using the presence of a pillow behind the head, and might be having some rest or something, and the hands are quite visible here, right? Hands are quite visible here in the Abhay Mudra. Okay, and this is probably a female. This is probably a female, as we can see that the upper busts are, right? Upper busts are uncovered, as the tradition was there in that period. Now after that, we have this painting coming up from the Vagh caves. Okay, from the Vagh caves in Madhya Pradesh. This is actually showing that a princess probably is being entertained by her attendants, and look at the attendants, they are probably playing the flute to entertain her princess, and the other attendants are standing or sitting on the beside. However, what is the difference? If you observe the paintings which are of the earlier date, those paintings usually show the women without any upper body clothes. But in this painting, you are able to see that princess is wearing the complete clothes. At the same time, you can see that the attendants who are standing on the sideways, they are still not wearing any clothes. This might be the indicator that now by the 8th, 7th century, the people might have started wearing the clothes, or even it might have been a practice that people used to wear, but not as a standard practice of covering the entire body, because we all might be aware that this also might be related to the imagination of the painters, who might have thought that let us paint the pictures like that only. We cannot exactly conclude that what did it indicate about the general overview of the society. Okay, everyone. Now, if we talk about this picture, Lipakshi mural art. This is from Lipakshi temple in Andhra, where we can see that group of women are actually, might be going somewhere, might be in a procession or something. Look at the very unique, very unique hairdo. Their hair locks are very unique, and probably some of them are having the extremely long hair. At the same time, you can also observe that there is the representation of the 3/4 of the sides. You are not able to see the complete front of the person, but only a 3/4 view is shown to the viewer. So which means that the 3/4 representation method, that is actually related to the earlier ages, which was popular during the medieval period, starting from the Vijayanagar and becoming more and more popular during the Mughal period. All right. What is murals? Satyaprakash ji, we have already discussed that in the beginning of the class, that murals are basically the paintings done on the solid surfaces, natural solid surfaces like rocks or the caves or the temple walls, like that. Okay. Now here, again talking about the clothes, some of the people might be having the reservations, mental reservations about the typical clothes worn by the females in India. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you that the women in India, particularly even in the medieval period also, you might be able to see this, they did not carry any cloth which covered the upper body apart from the wraparounds, which was basically nothing but the continuation of those saris which they were wrapping. Okay. Apart from that, coming to the next tradition of the paintings, that is the miniature paintings. Now guys, miniature paintings are basically characterized by the small and detailed paintings. There is a technical ratio. That the dimensions of these paintings must not be bigger than 25 inches. Okay. And the ratio which is used in the representation of the human figures or the trees or any other figures, particularly for the human figures and the animal figures, it is 1/6 at max. So max to max, what is the ratio of the size which is shown there on the paintings? Suppose if my height is like 6 feet, it is like 6 feet, then my painting in the miniature art, that will be having the height of 1 feet if it is at the maximum ratio of painting. Okay, maximum ratio of recreation. So this is the exact ratio which was followed. Based upon those rules, my dear, in our country, the tradition of the miniature arts had already started by the 10th, 11th century, and in that period, our country had two traditions of the miniature art. One was the Eastern tradition and the other one was the Western tradition. Okay, everyone. In the Eastern tradition, we had the Pala dynasty contributing to the maximum, and in the Western tradition, we had the Matrakas, and later on we had the Solankis also. Got it, everyone? On the eastern side, right, Pala dynasty was primarily targeting the Buddhism as the theme of the majority of the paintings, whereas in the Maitraka and the Solankis, they were targeting the Jainism and Vaishnavism. As the most important themes, right, as the most important themes or most common themes of the paintings. Okay, everyone. So this is how the miniature arts started in India, and once the Mughals arrived in India, then the miniature arts, they got a new lease of life. They got a new lease of life. But before proceeding, let me just give you a brief overview. As we saw, the Eastern India's miniature arts, which was primarily popular from 10th, 11th, 12th centuries, that time onwards, this was basically, propagated or promoted by the Pala dynasty. And here the basic characteristics, that the sinuous lines means what? Sinuous lines means, this type of linings were basically used. Got it, everyone? And the subdued tones of the colors were also used just to make the Lord Buddha's paintings appear much brighter. Isn't it even a common trend today also? When you want to be focused or want to be kept in focus, your face has been kept under, it is kept under the exceptional brightness, whereas the other faces besides you, they are not as bright, not as glowing as it one. Okay. Yes, exactly. If you are following these classes religiously and taking the notes as well as making your own searches as well, so these classes will be enough. These classes will be enough. Okay. Now here, apart from that, lonely single figures and sometimes even the group figures are also there. Most of the group figures are with Lord Buddha. If there is no Lord Buddha, then we don't have the group figures, or usually we don't have the group figures in the Pala paintings. Okay, everyone. Apart from that, the best example of the Pala style of paintings or Pala style of miniature paintings, that is basically the Pragya Paramita's manuscripts. The manuscripts written by the Buddhist scholars related to the attainment of the Pragya Paramitas. Okay, everyone, what are the Paramitas? You might be aware. So guys, remember that these might be the example, in fact the best examples to recall when you see these pictures. Look at this one. Here there is the image of Buddha. You can see very well that Buddha is having the brightest appearance, the most shiny and the centric position, whereas the other images are not as bright, not as shiny. They are slightly kept in the background. And here you can see that this is the painting which is created on the you can say a paper, on a page, right, on the paper or on a page. Look at this one. This is the hole. Basically in this particular hole, the tying ropes are kept so that the pages are bonded together, right? So they are basically the bounding ropes. Now here, binding ropes. Now here, if we talk about the other examples in the Western India, we had mainly the contribution of the Maitrakas or Solankis. Even Chalukyas also made the contributions, and most of them are related to the Jainism. The most common ones are related to the Jainism. Okay, primarily popular during the 12th century, but the tradition will be continued up to the 16th century. Got it? Then apart from that, the advent of Delhi Sultanate, that also resulted into the different and unique style of the miniature arts, particularly the use of the indigenous and Persian elements like the shiny and neonish type of green color, like the use of topaz blue, like the use of crimson red. All these colors were highly influenced by the Persian features, because in India we had the use of brownish maroonish red color. In India we had the use of the pale and bright yellows. We had the use of the chlorophyll green, not the shiny neonish green. We did not have that. Okay, so therefore here in India we had the cyan color, but we did not use the magenta to be very common. However, in Persian traditions we had the uses of the cyan, magenta and turquoise, bright pink. All those colors were quite quite illuminary, quite shiny colors in Persian art. But when they came to India, the Persian colors and the Indian colors were quite mixed up, which resulted into a unique flavor to the appearance of these paintings. Just have a look on these paintings. Look on the paintings of the Western India's miniature before the arrival of any impact from Persia, any influence from Persia. Look at this one. The eyes are basically protruding outwards. They are bulging, protruding outwards, and the dimensioning of the body is quite strange. Where you can see the broad shoulders, right? Broad shoulders, but very thin and tapering lower body. Even this young boy, who is basically nobody but Lord Mahavir, he is also shown with the broad shoulders and a very tapering waistline, probably making it look like an inverted pyramid. So that's a very strange thing. This is the dimension which they are using. This is for the shoulder, and this is for the hips. So this is how they were actually showing, with the 3/4 representation and the bulging and protruding eyes. All right, everyone. This is the feature of the arts during the early stages of the miniature art in Western India. But when we see the second work, like the second picture, this is basically related to the Delhi Sultanate. Here now you are probably able to see that the different planes are demarcated. You can see the clear demarcation of the different layers. In fact, these spaces are layered just to show that within this particular color space, a different scene will be represented. Under this particular space, a different scene is represented, and over and above, a different scene. So the layering and the bifurcation of these planar surfaces, that practice started from the Sultanate period. Okay, everyone. Now, when we talk about the Mughals, we all might be aware that particularly during the Jahangir's period and during the Akbar's period, there were so many painters. In fact, if we try to learn the basic things, so here, right, Abdus Samad, okay, Abdus Samad and Mir Sayyid Ali, okay, Mir Sayyid Ali, these two were the two painters who came all the way from Persia with Humayun, okay, with Humayun. And after that, what happened? After that, Akbar got various other painters trained, and those painters were actually almost common, in the reign of Akbar or even during the Jahangir's period. So some of the famous painters included, right, Bhagwan Das, then Daswant, Basavan, okay, then Mansoor, okay, then Nizami. So all these people were the famous painters. In fact, there might be more people, but I am not naming all of them because most of them were quite excellent in the making of miniature, as well as some of them were great in making of portrait arts. Particularly remember that during the period of Jahangir, in fact, let me just write down the specialities of each of them: Akbar, Jahangir, and Shah Jahan. So when we talk about Akbar, so illustrated manuscripts were the most famous form of paintings. Okay, illustrated manuscripts. What is the meaning of illustrated manuscripts? I told you already that the books having the pages of the stories along with some pictures, that is illustrated manuscripts. Then Akbar also had got this miniature paintings, all right, which means that on a board of max to max 2 feet, you can actually make the miniature versions of the different visuals. Might be the courtroom scene, might be a war field scene, or might be a natural scenery, or something else. Then what is the speciality of Jahangir? Jahangir had the very special view on the paintings. So the era of Jahangir is also known as the golden era of paintings in the Mughal period. So he had a special eye towards the miniature, but at the same time he also emphasized upon the portrait arts, and he also had very famous, very important contribution to the creation of the albums. What is the difference between the illustrated manuscripts and the albums? Albums are basically the compilation of those pages having only the pictures, whereas the illustrated manuscripts, I told you, they are stories, that means the writing plus picture. Now when we talk about Shah Jahan rather focused upon making the picturesque decorations on the stone sculptures. So we can say that the use of illustrations and the use of the colorful decorative gemstones, that became quite common in the period of Shah Jahan. So guys, all these three rulers of Mughal Empire, they had very great influence on the painting as well as the architectural traditions of India. In fact, their contributions were not just limited to the paintings, but also to make these paintings as the popular basis behind the creation of the several other regional arts, particularly Rajputana and Pahadi arts as well as the Deccani arts. So we can say that the emanation or the evolution of the regional style of the arts particularly is indebted to the Mughal period, because if Aurangzeb might not have discarded the painters in his period, they might not have migrated to the Rajputana area or the Pahadi areas or the Deccan and Bengal regions. So you might be able to see this picture. Look at this beautiful picture having the intricate detailings with the different colors of the human faces, as well as the detailing of the screens even shown on the site of painting as well. Here you can see the takhte taus kept as the basis, and now you can also see the different face colors or the different look of the nobles. So this is quite a rich and vivid painting from the Mughal miniature art. Now this is probably even better. I would say that they have actually followed a portrait shape. Look at the images of the painters in the corner right of the painting with the beautiful decorated border showing the images of Petra Dura on the border side on the floral decorations. Look at this same painting is having the different planes. So one plane, then second plane is this one, and the third plane is this one. All right. So they are actually showing the different planes here. Why we did not get any PPT of your lectures? Shruti, actually I have uploaded the PPTs on my Telegram channel. Okay. So at the end of this lecture, you will be able to join the Telegram channel. The link is there in the end of the lecture. So if you want to literally join that, you can join and you can get all the PPTs. In fact, all the PPTs of the previous lectures in this series, they are uploaded there. Okay. Now in the Deccan area, there are different regional schools like Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda, Hyderabad, Tanjavur. All these are having the distinct features. You will be able to read those things once you will get. But look at the paintings. So this is from the Ahmednagar. Okay, this is from the Ahmednagar. And if you look at this one, now this, right, all these paintings, they are showing the distinct features, but which is more close to the Mughal style, then this is probably the closest to the Mughal style. You can also see the half representation or the side view of these princesses as well as the emperor and the servants also. The side view. Got it? Very similar to the Mughal period. Now, this is the most beautiful painting. I just wanted to show this painting to all of you. This is the most beautiful looking Tanjavur art. This is the Tanjore art or Tanjavur art. Guys, if you are literally thinking that this is a good looking painting, then do not forget to share this class with your friends so that they can also learn about these things. Remember that. The Tanjavur art is actually using the very bright and very contrasting combination of the great colors. The most common theme in the Tanjavur art that is related to the Hinduism, especially they try to show the different deities of the Hinduism, or their family photos are shown. So the most famous theme is basically Lord Shiva and the family of Lord Shiva basically. But here you can see the images of four-armed Lord Vishnu, right? Four-armed Lord Vishnu. Apart from Lord Vishnu, you can also see there are the different deities standing in all the sides, and they are basically revering in front of Lord Vishnu. Okay. Then certain other regional paintings are also there, particularly Malwa and Mewar. At Malwa and Mewar. For example, in Malwa, if you observe, in Malwa, you have the use of contrasting colors, and in Mewar, you have the use of the bold colors. Usually, the appearance is quite similar, but if you will observe, then have a look on the black and yellow, yellow border line and blackish background is there in the Mewar paintings. Look at the different planes. It is basically the optical illusion where it is appearing like Lord Krishna is basically with every gopi. Every gopi is able to see Lord Krishna with her, so that it is assumed this. For example, look at this one. This gopi is, these gopis are bowing down in front of Lord Krishna. Then these are swimming along with Lord Krishna. These are playing in the water. These are offering the garland to Lord Krishna. These are having some conversation, and these are again playing in the water. So it is basically the scenery taken from the stories of Ras Leela, where every Gopika was able to see the Lord Krishna along with her. Okay, so this is the speciality of the Mewar paintings, that they are using the realistic type of, imaginary type of representation, but they try to show them as the realistic pictures. When we talk about the Malwa paintings, even they actually take the inspiration or stories from the Lord Krishna's tales only. So we can say that probably Lord Krishna was the most common theme of subjects in the medieval era's paintings. Right, everyone? Now moving further, and the regional style, particularly the Rajasthani school of arts. Look at this one: Bundi, Kota, Jaipur, Marwar, Bikaner. Also we have the Kishangarh, we have the Jaisalmer, etc. Those all are basically having the common themes, like the image of Lord Krishna is there, okay, and therefore we can have the similar type of representations there. Got it? All these are the similar representations, but this is basically from Amer. Okay, this is from Amer style of painting. Got it, everyone? So these things will be right. We will be covering up in the next part in the tomorrow's lecture, where we will also try to learn about the other remaining folk arts, other remaining parts of the paintings, as well as the remaining folk styles of different cultures. Till then, guys, make it sure that you do not forget to hit the like button if you have loved this lecture, and at the same time, you can also join. Right, you can also join the Telegram channel. Right, particularly if you have not seen the Telegram channel yet, you can join the Telegram channel. Right, and this is basically available here only now. So guys, that is all in today's session. Thank you so much for watching it. And in case if anybody is trying to crack the examination in the next year, then definitely you can consider our batches of the P2I, which are starting from 22nd of September 2023. So this is by Telegram link. Thank you so much. In case if you want the PPTs, you can join this. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.